Hello everyone. In this occasion, we'll be exploring the grammar of smooth, which you might remember is a variation of verb phrase, and it's pretty much related to the structure of the class as a whole. You will see this better with examples, but always have in mind that independent classes realize different structures depending on the function they are expressing. Okay? If I say, for example, he's strong, what am I doing? I'm providing information. I'm telling you that he's strong, okay? And for that purpose, I use a determined structure, a determined mood, which is a declarative one. Whenever I say, is he strong? How strong is he? I'm asking for information and I'm using one type of interrogative structure, which is either the yes no interrogative or WH interrogative. And then, if I say be strong, I'm demanding a service. I want you to be strong, and I demand that from you. And I do this by means of an imperative structure. Now, in the first row, you can see that we have role of language, which is providing, asking for, or demanding, and the commodity exchanged, which can either be information or services. Okay? And the clause structure that is related to that role and the commodity exchange. So, for example, for declarative, we use usually declarative clauses to provide information. We usually use interrogative clauses, either yes, no, or WH, to ask for information. And we use imperative clauses to demand services. Now, this takes us directly to the speech act. Okay, so probably you've heard speech act before at school, and they are these three. We're going to focus on only on these three ones: statements, questions, and commands. So we use statements to provide information. Statement is a function, it's a speech act function. It's not the structure itself. We use questions to ask for information, and we use commands to demand services. But we have to focus on the order of the elements within the clause, the verb phrase in particular, to be able to discern which structure we're talking about. So, whenever we have declarative clauses, we say the grass is, roads are made, Holly wasn't, I don't like. So, what we have there, structurally speaking, is a noun phrase followed by a verb phrase. This tells us that my clause is declarative. Okay? Now, whenever we have something like this, do you, have they, has the financial department, could you, what we have there is a verb phrase, auxiliary verb, followed by a noun phrase. And this indicates that we have a yes no interrogative in this case. Whenever we start with auxiliary and follow it with a noun phrase. This is a yes no interrogative. The answer to the questions could be no, I don't, yes, I do. Yes, they have, no, they haven't. Yes, it has, no, it hasn't. And yes, I could, no, I couldn't. I answered the questions not knowing what the rest of the clause was. Okay, but I know that having a yes no interrogative clause preempts the possibilities of having only these two types of answers, either a yes or a no. Of course, you can have an I don't know or a more or less, but these are the possibilities for us at this stage. Now, whenever we have structures like this one, who wasn't, what happened, what must be done. Yeah. What do we have there? We have a WH word followed by a verb phrase. Whenever we have something like this, okay, we're talking about WH interrogative clauses, and the information that we are looking for in this case is more than a simple yes or no. We're looking for specific information. So in the first case, somebody's name. In the second case, a description of what happened. Okay, and in the last one, a description of what must be done. Okay. Now, we can have other type of WH interrogative questions. Take a look at this. what does the government, where did Jeremy, what kind of music do you, where can I? Okay, and after the noun phrase, we have other verb: want, go, listen to, find. Okay, now this is a structure: a WH word, a primary auxiliary, and a noun phrase. So this takes us to the distinction of two different types of uh, WH interrogatives. Okay, so on the one hand, we have the WH element followed by the auxiliary, then the noun phrase and the verb. And in the second case, we have the WH element and then the verb phrase. Okay. Now, why do we sometimes use an auxiliary and why do we sometimes do not use an auxiliary for our questions? Because we have different types of questions. Subject questions. Subject questions ask for the subject, the doer. Who is it that performs something? Okay. Now, we don't know who it is. Yeah. So we are asking for the identity of our subject. On the other hand, object questions: what music do you like? When do your parents go back? How much does it cost? Have an auxiliary, and in this case, we know who performed the actions: you, your parents, it. Okay, and in this case, as we know the identity of the subject, we are asking for something else, and in this case, the subject of my clause is the WH element, and in this case, the subject is after the verb, after the auxiliary specifically. So don't forget about these two type of different questions and why we use auxiliaries with ones and why don't we use them with other ones. Now, whenever we have this type of structure, yeah, we start right away with the verb phrase. So we have leave, do come, don't go. Okay, we're starting our clauses with the verb phrase, so these are imperative clauses. Please, here is a discourse marker to show politeness. So it doesn't matter that it's there at the beginning. We do not consider it. Okay, it's optional. So imperative clauses are, as you can see, start with the verb phrase. Now, this term over here, unmarked, okay, is really important, and you should remember it whenever it is mentioned. When something is unmarked, something is the default, the expected, what you would expect to find. Okay, unmarked mood choices are mood choices, which are the default choices. Okay. Now, to provide information, we usually make a statement by means of a declarative clause. To ask for information, okay, we ask a question by means of an interrogative structure. And to demand services, we make a command, okay, by means of an imperative clause, okay. Remember, the clause structure is doesn't vary. I mean, declaratives always have noun phrase followed by verb phrase. Interrogatives, well, depending on the type of interrogative, you will have auxiliary followed by noun phrase, or WH followed by auxiliary or verb phrase. And imperative clauses start right away with the verb phrase. Sorry. Now, the function can change. We can use a declarative structure to ask the question. We can use an interrogative structure to ask for a request, which is kind of a command, all right? Or we can even use a declarative clause to give a command, which would make it very indirect, okay? But still would be, the function would be that of a command, okay? Asking for a service, demanding a service. Now, this is an example of a marked mood choice. Marked, on the other hand, if unmarked is the expected or default, marked, on the other hand, is something that is not as usual as the unmarked choice. Is not the default, is not the expected. So, do you understand? No, you don't understand? Why don't you understand? What I'm doing here by adding the question mark at the end and adding the question intonation is asking a question, all right? I'm asking a question, but I'm asking a question with a declarative structure because I have a noun phrase followed by the verb phrase. Now, whenever I have here a structure, sorry, declarative function question, as you can see. Now, mark mood choices. Once again, what happens whenever I say, "Would you mind opening the door?" Am I really, am I really demanding for or asking for information? I don't think so. I'm not asking for information here. I'm not expecting a yes no answer. Okay? I'm expecting for you to open the door. So the structure is an interactive, and the function is a request. We're going to be practicing this in the forum, the marked and marked choices of mood. All right. Hope it's clear.